Hi everybody. Good morning. It's Stephen D. For those of you who've seen me before. Steve Searles, if you prefer. That's my name. Not ashamed of it. Um, or you can just call me Mr. Searles if you want to be formal. Um, Today's topic: Peter Strzok. Now I know that yesterday he appeared in a public hearing for a congressional committee, and the news reports are all saying he's a big hero because he stood up to those GOP, you know, SOBs, and that's great, because I don't have much affection for anybody in the GOP, not after what they've done over the years in my lifetime. But there's been this big push, particularly among, let's say, the less progressive faction of the Democratic Party, uh, to make him into a hero. To say, hey, he's a big hero. He stood up to the Republicans, blah, blah, blah. Trump, Russiagate, they're trying to cover up. Well, let's go back and review his history, okay? First, he was one of the lead investigators, if not the lead investigator, in the Hillary Clinton email scandal. Don't need to get into all the details of that, but he certainly, that was a case in which the FBI gave immunity to just about everybody from Clinton, associated with, Clinton when she was Secretary of State, and also, basically gave her a pass on stuff that other people have gone to jail for much lesser violations. Like a guy who just snapped a photo inside a submarine where he worked. He got sent to prison for that. That's far less damaging than what Hillary Clinton did. And so, but let's put that aside. So this guy, he came out with a number of tweets, or not tweets, I'm sorry, text messages between him and his girlfriend, who was also working for the FBI, a lady by the name of Lisa Page, and they went after Trump big time in the middle of the campaign while he was an investigator, on the Russian collusion investigation involving the Trump campaign. He claimed, oh, well, Congress, no bias, and maybe there was no bias. Maybe that's, maybe all that crap he said about, Mr. Trump, just his personal opinion, didn't affect his review of the collusion investigation. But is he really a hero, guys? I mean, he sounds like sort of a jerk, actually, and especially to somebody who was a Bernie Sanders supporter. Because let me tell you something, folks, and if you were Sanders supporters or you support Sanders' progressive platform, this is what he had to say about Bernie Sanders. Okay, these were in text also between his, mistress, Ms. Page. She wrote him that I just saw my first Bernie Sanders bumper sticker. That's right, Sander, not Sanders. Bernie Sanders bumper sticker made me want to key the car. Okay, so that's a little extreme. I mean, somebody supports Bernie Sanders, you want to key their car? Just what the hell was that about? And then this is Strzok's response. He's an idiot like Trump. Figure they cancel each other out. Okay, Bernie Sanders is an idiot like Trump. Well, that's kind of surprising since Bernie Sanders has accomplished a lot in the course of his career. And I could go through a whole list of things, but I just want to mention one in particular. Back in 2012, 2013, President Obama was speaking about a grand bargain with the Republicans. And as part of that grand bargain, they were going to cut benefits to Social Security recipients using chained CPI, cost of living index. And they were going to lower it so that people would get less money, even if inflation was higher. And Sanders put out a bill, put out an amendment to a bill, engaged with activists, including people with the AARP and other people, and worked extremely hard to make sure that did not happen. And guess what? Eventually, it died because of all the outrage. And that was led by Bernie Sanders. So we have the fact that, Social Security benefits did not get cut by the Obama administration by cutting a deal with the same Republicans that, everybody hates. And yet, Mr. Strzok is calling Bernie Sanders an idiot. Well, I don't know, maybe Strzok doesn't care about Social Security. He probably has a good government pension coming to him. But nonetheless, it's a little bit disturbing to me that this was happening. That doesn't make him a hero to me. That just makes him a guy that was a loudmouth at a congressional hearing, and he yelled at people that other people don't like. Well, great. I'm happy for him, but he was taken off those that collusion investigation after this stuff came to the fore. So I think that's kind of relevant, don't you? So I just there's a reason why Strzok is no longer working for Mueller or any of these people that are doing investigations into the alleged collusion between Russia and Trump. And the reason is he showed bias. That's, from a technical standpoint, from a legal lawyerly standpoint, and I'm a retired lawyer, that's at best the appearance of impropriety. But his remarks about Sanders also are the same thing. You don't talk like that. You certainly not when you're in the middle of an investigation of a candidate who's running for president, and he was involved in 2 of those. Okay, so I don't see him as a hero at all. I see him as a guy who was biased. And he can claim all he wants his bias didn't interfere with his how he handled, the investigation against Clinton, and how he handled the investigation or his duties with respect to the investigation against, the alleged collusion between Trump and Russia. But the very fact that he was removed from that investigation by Mueller, the very fact that the OIG, Office of the Inspector General, issued a report, that was very negative regarding his, conduct, should speak volumes. And I'm not a Trump supporter. I hate Trump just as much, but as anybody. But what's this doing for anybody? This ridiculous, and I'm sorry, it is ridiculous, Russiagate narrative at this point. They've got a trial going on against Paul Manafort, in which Mueller has already stated, or his team has stated, they will not be presenting any evidence that shows that Manafort and the Trump campaign colluded. So yeah, they're going after Manafort for some crap he did, sketchy crap he did before that violated or may have violated the law, but then Mueller files a lawsuit against a Russian troll farm and 13 of its employees and or affiliates, and when they finally show up in court, suddenly he wants to delay discovery. He didn't want to show their evidence that he has against them, prove that anything. So instead of campaigning on a platform that we know is a winning platform, as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just showed, they'd rather go after Bernie Sanders and his supporters. And Strzok is a representative. He's emblematic of the type of people that have been running the Democratic Party for years, that have been biased, that don't care about income inequality, they don't care about Medicare for all, they don't care about heavy student loan debt. They don't care. They don't care about us. All they care about is seeing, people like them in power. People like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, who said we'd never ever get Medicare for all. No single payer from her. Oh no. You gotta remember, this is the same Hillary Clinton that was pushing fracking around the world before she suddenly decided she, was a big climate change person. The same Hillary Clinton that was for the TPP until Bernie Sanders came into the race, and she was forced to, back off and say, I don't support it. The same Bernie Sanders that has inspired a generation of new people to enter races around the country. And yeah, they're not winning every race, but they are getting involved, and hopefully a new generation will come along to replace this extremely corrupt machine that's known as the Democratic Party. Certainly it's a very corrupt machine in New York, where even after Ms. Ocasio-Cortez won her primary, Representative Crowley, whose biggest accomplishment while he was in office was ensuring that money got funneled to his friends and associates and his family. And you can Google that and find it there. Those are the people that shouldn't be in the Democratic Party if they're going to claim to be Democratic. Cuomo, who's taken money from Trump, of all people, and says he's going to keep it. Who's taken money from the Koch brothers, and he's going to keep that. Whose aides keep getting, indicted and convicted. So, Peter Strzok, you're not a hero. And anybody who thinks you're a hero because, you loudly stood up to a bunch of other assholes in Congress in the Republican Party, well, they're extremely misguided. And your views about Bernie Sanders being an idiot is evidence of your own bias and disconnection from the millions of Americans who not only were inspired by Sanders, but mostly were inspired by his agenda, because Bernie Sanders himself is not a great orator. He's not somebody who you're just dying to listen to at a speech, not like President Obama was. People showed up for a guy who had no name recognition, little known, showed up in the thousands to hear him speak. And it wasn't because he was like a barn burner, let's face it. It was because the platform he put forward was honest and authentic. And it was because people knew he wasn't taking money from rich donors like the rest of, most of the rest of the Democratic Party. So, Mr. Strzok, all I can say to you is, feel good for now, but you haven't done anything heroic, sir. Nothing at all. And anybody who thinks you have, well, you're an idiot. So, that's all I have to say today. Take care and have a great weekend, everybody. Signing off, Stephen D.